Hello everyone, Ron here from RJJ's Reactions and LTL Tutoring Central, but I'm here as RJJ's Reactions because we're listening to Chonny Jash and the Heart Acoustic. And when I looked for the Heart Acoustic video and also from some comments, thank you very much from everyone who's been commenting, suggesting, recommending more songs from Chonny. I noticed what was it, the mind electric, the soul eclectic, something like that. So he seems to be separating these things, and of course they're all in the mind actually, but I understand it for artistic purposes. So let's have a listen to the Heart Acoustic, and then we'll look at the lyrics afterwards. Should be interesting, should be fun. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to try that. Okay, the Heart Acoustic audio. Let's have a listen.
Sit safely out of the sun, away from rays so blinding to the eyes, singing someone's already sung, averting gaze from beautiful light.
Stop for a second. I'm not sure if there's a transition there. Sounds like there might be. Chaotic music coming in, so very confusing. And then he comes in with his voice, which is a good voice, although I can't hear it clearly. For me, I have difficulty sometimes separating the music from the voice. The music's quite loud here, so the voice is not coming through, so I can't understand the lyrics so far. I've already pulled them up, and I had a quick look at them, but I didn't read all the way through. So I'll have a look at the lyrics afterwards, and see if I can dissect anything out of that. Then if I listen again, I'll probably be able to hear them a little bit better. But right now, unfortunately, the music is overriding the lyrics and the voice.
Gaze from beautiful light. But as complacency settles, anxieties will rise and part this soul as gentle parted heart. Now I'm but half of a hollow man's lies. The love, the hate, the emotion inside. What's the point in trying if this end result of dying sits persistently encloaked in dimness? Life can thrive controlled by digits. I know I'm weak, I know that I'm vile, but sometimes that is here to survive. That's what I'll say to rationalize. I'm needed to stay alive. And yet here I lie with black sunken eyes. My mind can decide as signs will void. The soul remains tempered, I remain blind, condemned. We are both all destroyed. But I know that 1 plus 1 can't equal 2 if happiness is both our truths. Our total sum must equal 1 if we're to find that golden hue. Spiraling down entropically, I beg of thee, have mercy on me. I am just a boy, you see, I plead of thee, have sympathy for me. You beg for it to stop, but you've already done your lot in the crowd. See how the mind tricks the soul into being something sickly, dead and cold. Do what you want, you automaton freak. No, I can.
Now I can hear the voice. I could hear it all the way through, but I can't. Once in a while I get a line of the lyrics, but most of the time it's like background sound. So the instrumental part is the foreground, the voice is the background, and I can't hear the lyrics unfortunately most of the time. Now I can. He's cleared it up a little bit. I like the instrumental. I like the chaotic sounds, which is strange because my mind is chaotic, but sometimes chaotic sounds can calm the chaotic mind. Maybe that's what's going on, although he's singing about the heart. However, our heart pumps blood. That's about it. And every, all our thoughts, all our emotions are in our mind, I think, primarily anyway. So there is some argument that there's something in some of the other organs as well, and it's used artistically. I get that. All right, I'm going to back that up a little bit. We're almost at the very end. Just thought I'd mention I can actually hear his voice now, and I like his voice. I wish he would um, maybe change the production a bit so we can hear his voice more.
Do what you want, you automaton freak. No, I can no longer bring myself to care. This hollowed out vessel's beginning to creak. So take control, let's see how you fare.
I believe that's the end. Looks like the very end. Okay. Interesting, very interesting. But I will be more interested to actually go through the lyrics and see what's there. And then if I listen to the song again, I will probably understand a lot more of the lyrics having read them and put them a little bit in my memory. But you'd have to do it multiple times for it to stick in my old memory. But anyway, let's have a look at the lyrics now. Okay, the Heart Acoustic. Didn't sound at all acoustic, by the way. I should have mentioned that before. Great sounds, great music, but not acoustic. By Chonny Jash. I always want to say Johnny Cash. I know he's played with that name. Think of these thoughts as hackneyed and trite, cliched, depraved, disturbing, and contrived, shallow, cold, wretched, miserable, dark, and any other adjective. Choose to sit safely out of the sun, away from rays so blinding to the eye. So there could be a lot of meaning in here. Obviously, talking about the thoughts being hackneyed, trite, unimportant, disturbing. Uh, these adjectives don't all mean this, so they're not synonymous or whatever, but yeah, cliched, etc. Choose to sit safely out of the sun, away from the rays so blinding to the eye. So that's uh, got two sides to it as well. Um, the light reveals, but too much sunlight hides because you can't see, and if it's too bright, you can't see. I actually sometimes like a bit of cloudy day so that when I'm walking outside, I can see without my sunglasses, because once I put the sunglasses on, I feel almost blind and claustrophobic. I can't find a pair of sunglasses that work properly for me. But yeah, so the light can be revealing, but it can also hide a lot of things at the same time. As I said, blinding to the eye. So sit safely out of the sun. But are you safe out of the sun? Because then maybe you can see more. I don't know. I'm just going through the lyrics for the first time. So, singing song someone's already sung, averting gaze from beautiful light. Yeah, I think this song is supposed to be kind of a cover, isn't it? But I don't know. I don't know too much about that, and I didn't recognize anything in this song. But I might not have heard whatever it was. Singing song someone's already sung, averting gaze from beautiful light. But as complacency settles, anxieties will rise, and part this soul is Jekyll, parted Hyde. So yeah, sometimes as complacency settles, anxiety will rise. So sometimes when you start to feel better, or at least you think you're starting to feel better, all of a sudden those anxieties come back up to haunt you again. Or you think of something else that you can focus your stress and worry on. It just becomes another way of becoming anxious. I definitely know the feeling because you do things, you work toward getting better and feeling better. And then when everything's going well, or at least seems to be going well, I think always in the back of my mind anyways, I think, okay, when is the other boot going to drop? And then I think of other things that can raise the anxiety levels. It's almost like an addiction, I think you could say. No, I'm but half of a hollow man's lies, the love, the hate, the emotional side. What's the point in trying if this end result of dying? If this end result of dying, yeah, you get to that point sometimes where you just think, what? Why bother? Why even try working through all of these things when the end result is dying anyway? Sits persistently and cloaked in dimness. Life can't thrive controlled by digits. Um, that could mean a lot of different things as well. Digits, is he talking about money? Is he talking about corporations? Is he talking about social media? uh, Zeros and ones and all of the computerized stuff we're using these days? I'm not sure. But yeah, we all die. But I will say that we need to change our way of thinking because we all die and there is no heaven. Uh, we need to think, we need to enjoy this life as much as we possibly can and put the value here and now on this life. That's my feeling anyway. I know I'm weak. I know that I'm vile, but sometimes that is needed to survive. That's what I'll say to rationalize. I'm needed if we're to stay alive. Now, I think he's separating the heart from the mind and the soul and things like that. So I know that some of this is not the way I'm interpreting it. It wasn't maybe meant that way from him. He's talking about the heart. I'm needed if we're to stay alive. The heart has to keep pumping, otherwise we're not going to live, obviously. Um, and yet here I lie with black sunken eyes. My mind's consigned our sighs to leaden void. The soul remains tempered. I remain plied. Condemned till we are both all but destroyed. Well, you will be destroyed. It's not all but destroyed, but it will be destroyed at some point. Yeah, I think there's a lot more going on here that he intended, because I did see in one of the messages something about lore or whatever, and I'm not familiar with what the lore is, so there could be more going on. But whether or not I have time to understand and get into all the lore, 21 Pilots has a lot of lore, and I got into a little bit, but not too much just because of time constraints. Um, but it's very interesting anyways, just to come into lyrics cold and see what you can make of them, because many listeners are only going to be listening uh, the first few times and are not necessarily going to know the whole story, right? Yeah. So I know that I'm vile, but sometimes that is needed to survive. So how do I explain this? Understanding the dark sides of yourself, I think, are necessary, and recognizing that not everything is light and fluffy and beautiful and charming and angelic, but that's what you need to survive sometimes in this world. You need to know that that part of you is there and recognize it. But I know that 1 plus 1 can't equal 2 if happiness is both our truths. Our total sum must equal 1 if we're to find that golden hue. So talking about parts in the body, maybe the heart, the soul, the mind, etc., but also maybe it could be extended or extrapolated to relationships and things of that nature. So sometimes a couple are supposed to come together as one. I think there's a mistake in that. I think that you come together as partly one, but not totally. I think there should still be two and one at the same time. Maybe that's what he's saying too. I don't know. So yeah, both of your truths cannot always come together to equal one, but they do need to come together in some capacity, I think. Uh, so spiraling down entropically, I beg of thee, have mercy on me. I am just a boy, you see. I plead of thee, have sympathy for me. Yes, of course. We have to have sympathy for one another, and we have to have sympathy for artistic expression as well, and for the chaos that goes on in all of our minds. I think some more than others, perhaps, but it's there. It's there. If it's maybe subliminal, but it's there. Um, so spiraling down entropically, so toward destruction, toward death, uh, breaking apart, and that's a complicated argument as well. Is it truly that everything is breaking apart? Or if we back up far enough, which we can't do with our human brain, is it all going to sort of make a kind of sense? Is it all going to be unified in the end? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question, but I do know that we can see things that look chaotic, and then if we back away far enough, in a smaller way, we can see that there is actually a pattern in a sense or some kind of sense there. But then again, if we move back, maybe we'll see chaos again. So I don't know. Entropy, fun. I am just a boy, you see. Yes, I read that. See how it hurts when the sound begins to ring and you feel it start to rot and you beg for it to stop, but you've already dug your lot in the ground. So maybe referring to the grave, but also I think referring to the mind. You dug a rut or a hole for yourself psychologically, emotionally, very difficult to deal with, even when you're begging for it to stop. You're almost responsible for making it continue as well. See how the mind tricks the soul. Yeah, the mind is the soul, but never mind. Into being something sickly, dead, and cold, and you feel it start to tire and fester so slowly, up until the point where it will finally die, just in time to see what could have been. Yes, maybe. I haven't died yet. Had a close call, but I haven't died yet. So who knows? Maybe there will be clarity just in that last little few seconds or something. It's possible. Just in time to see what could have been. Maybe what could have been, should have been, would have been, whatever. I think probably that's a waste of time. I think probably what is. I'm not necessarily a fatalist, but I'm not necessarily not a fatalist at the same time. Haven't made decisions on all of these things. Do you want you automaton freak? The heart pounding, beating. It sounded a bit like a heartbeat at the end there too. No, I can no longer bring myself to care. This hollowed out vessel's beginning to creak. So take control. Let's see how you fare. All right, there's a lot more here that I'm sure that you're aware of, having listened to more of Chonny and maybe being familiar with the lore or the stories or his meanings, or maybe he's done interviews. I don't know. But the automaton freak is just that constant heartbeat pumping blood around your body and oxygen and keeping us alive. I can no longer bring myself to care. This hollowed out vessel's beginning to creak. I don't know, failing, getting old. uh, no jokes from the cheap seats, thank you. So take control. Let's see how you fare. So is it the heart that's just taking control here, or is he talking about the mind? He says the mind tricks the soul, and of course, in an artistic way, we can talk about souls and spirits and other things. It's very interesting. I think there's a lot in the lyrics. I think there's a lot you can extract. I don't think there's one correct interpretation to most songs, particularly songs like this or lyrics like this that have so much in them that's open-ended and is not fully explained. But it's better because there's so much more to explore. So I think if you read someone else's interpretation or listen to mine or anyone else's, make sure that you counter that, or think about, not counter it necessarily, but think about your own as well, because I think that's important. I think that songs should connect to you, as should stories, books, movies, other things. So there's certain things that are obvious, but there are many other things that uh, can be more personal to you and that you can extract for yourself. So one person's interpretation is not necessarily correct or incorrect. It just is, again, what it is, like I said before. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm starting to ramble. It's Ron from RJJ's Reactions. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed. Thank you for your comments and suggestions, recommendations. Keep them coming. In the meantime, keep listening, keep having fun. Bye bye for now.